Hi everyone. Okay, in today's video I wanted to talk about the pre-Christmas stress, okay, and a couple of important shifts that you can make mentally to kind of reduce that stress and anxiety, particularly the kind of run up to Christmas, okay. So, what is stress and what's anxiety? Now, most people, when they talk about stress, they just think of stress as a negative thing, okay? And yes, when I'm talking about stress and stress management, I'm talking about the negative element of stress. But if we look at the stress response is actually an innate survival response, and it's necessary for us to deal with emergency and life-threatening situations. It's the way that our body responds to life-threatening situations or things we perceive as life-threatening. Okay, so that can help us get out of danger and pre sort of have a, if we see danger coming, we are prepared and we do what's necessary. An interesting thing about the stress response is that we can often do things that our physical body would maybe be challenged normally to do. Our body sort of increases and the stress response kicks in and we can push ourselves, okay? And that's why when people tend to be in an adrenaline rush, okay, that they're constant in a state of chronic stress or chronic anxiety, they actually have a lot of excess, what appears to be excess energy. They're running, and that's what people might say, they're running off their nerves, okay? And there's a sort of kind of build up, okay? So they're constantly, and they find it very difficult to switch off. If you're someone who finds it difficult just to fall off to sleep, if you find it very difficult just to sit down and relax, these are all examples of chronic stress and even chronic anxiety at times, okay? So the key with pre-Christmas stress is our perception of what we think we need or must do or have to do. And it's triggered and kept in that chronic stress and chronic anxiety cycle when we keep ruminating over what we think we need to, must, or have to do. And that can come in the form of financial pressure, where people feel they have to or must do something for someone, buy someone a certain type of present at a certain cost. Or it may be they feel they need to do something or attend something or be seen to do something, okay? And again, this is where people put themselves a lot of pressure. Now, all these sort of patterns of behaviour balance down to lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth, lack of confidence, all sort of things. And they lead to lots of behaviours where we're people-pleasing, okay? And if you're one of the people in my highly sensitive group who are either empathic or highly sensitive, often again, highly empathic or highly sensitive, particularly empaths, over-identify so much with people's emotional needs, or what they think their emotional needs is, that they are so used to feeling people's energy and people's pain that they get over entangled with, again, what they believe everyone needs and what they should be doing for everyone else, instead of being more self-aware of their needs and other people's needs. And what we've got to understand is, in today's society, there's a very distorted perception between needs and wants. And what people want and what they need is a completely different, thing. Even when we look at our own needs, often people will replace their spiritual or emotional needs for a physical want. Okay, so this is where it's very important to address those physical, physical, emotional, spiritual needs, and look at that, and mental needs, and look at what's I want. So when you are thinking about stress and you're thinking about what you feel you need to do for someone, okay, and this is not about, because often in the Christmas spirit of things, we want to do that extra mile. We want to, you're opening your heart and you want to do that little bit extra, and that's lovely with an open heart. But if you're not doing something from an open heart, if you're doing it from a fearful, closed heart, you're sending out a gift or something with an energy of fear, pain, frustration, okay, even maybe resentment. So think about that. And today, make a list of what really is needs and wants. Often people need your love, your ear to listen, your attention, your respect, far more than they need that latest, whatever it is, that latest bag or shoes or shirt or toy or a book. Okay. Now, I think this is where even it's not about what you choose to do, because you can still choose to do these things. But when you can actually recognise that these things are needs, the things that are needs and the things that are wants, you start to define and you start to take the pressure, and you don't feel as obliged because you recognise that you are now getting caught in to a entangled web where you feel obliged. So that's the first step. When you start to recognise what areas of your life you are putting yourself constantly into other people's needs instead of your own needs, you then start to readdress the balance. And that's one of the biggest things that we talk about in stress management. It's all about balance. Everything's about balance. And when a client comes to me in relation to their stress, we tend to look at their whole life, and it's what we call a holistic approach, okay? And my background is completely holistic because I trained as a healer, I trained as a therapist, I trained as a coach, a counsellor. So there's all different faculties, and some of that I've studied nutrition, I studied things like flower essences and colour, so and psychology, so there's a whole thing, and obviously spirituality. So when you're supporting a client, okay, any person, when you help them, when you're trying to help them back into whole, you're looking at the holistic approach. And what I want you to do is think about your life, about your balance. Where are you kind of too busy catering for the people's, what you perceive as needs, which maybe wants, that you are not having a holistic approach to your own life? And that can come in all sorts of forms. It can come in the forms of what you're eating. It can come in the forms of what you're thinking. It can come in the form of not emotionally caring for your own needs and giving yourself that self-love, that self-care, that self-nurturing. It can be in physically pushing yourself to a degree that is not right for your physical body, or it could be the opposite, that you're not addressing things where you should be, pushing yourself that bit more physically, you should be getting more exercise. Or maybe you're not even living your potential, maybe you're making excuses, maybe you're sitting back and you've got all these gifts here and you're supposed to be doing something else, but you're making all these excuses. These all can play a huge part in our stress, okay? And yes, I certainly don't want you to try and approach all that, because we'd never will approach these things one at a time. But if you can pick one thing today out of those things, and if because there'll maybe a little something maybe feels slightly uncomfortable, or pushed a little button, or just made you think, If you look at that one area of your life and pick just one area, and if you can do something to reduce the stress in that area over Christmas, what you've done is you're balancing the scales. So what you're doing is, what happens often with stress is that the body is basically put under a great deal of stress, as in lots of things happen at one time. So when your body, say for example, you're eating unhealthy, if you eat a lot of certain meat, or if you consume sugar and alcohol and things that are stimulants, even things like caffeine, you may not feel those things have any effect on you, right, on a day-to-day basis, okay? But often they are. But it's not till other things start going in your body that they'll actually really start playing havoc, right? And that's when, so if something else tips and you're really chronically stressed and anxious, that extra coffee, that extra sugar, that extra fat will place a real, can really weigh down the way that you respond mentally, physically, emotionally. So these things can actually make you feel more depressed, full of apathy, less motivated to do the things that you need to do. And motivation and apathy can play a huge part in how people live their lives, because you want as much, motivation and a feeling of empowerment to make the right choices. But if you are consuming foods, and that's a biggie, and particularly at Christmas, if you look at how much unhealthy food we consume, that can actually play havoc with the way that you deal with things emotionally and how resistant you are. So if you think about having, this time of year it's a time to have fun and things, but if you're someone who's extremely stressed and anxious and you are having that extra glass of wine, you're having that extra pudding, that can play huge havoc in your nervous system and your stress response and make you more anxious and more stressed, and can actually make you more less tolerant, overwhelmed. So just take a note. One of the things that I recognised many years ago, and it would be about at least 25 years ago, maybe about 27 years ago, when I first got really ill and I had to come back and stay with my parents. I was a student in my early 20s, 21 I think. I went back to college to study singing, and I had 3 jobs at the time, which was a bit crazy because my health wasn't great, but I didn't get a grant. So I had 3 jobs, but anyway, I burnt myself out. I partly had some rare complications, but I basically pushed myself into burnout. I was so ill, I could hardly do anything for myself at times. I couldn't even remember my sisters' names. I couldn't lift my head. I had to be carried to the toilet at times and things. And it took me a long time to get elements of my health back. And one of the things that I noticed was things like tea. That if I had tea, and I had this sort of tremor, okay? And I had something going on with my nervous system, but there was this tremor. And what I discovered was when I cut tea out and I just had herbal teas, the tremor would go. Now, I'm saying, I wouldn't say it completely went. My brother actually has a sort of slight tremor as well, but it was like it was doing that, right? So it was like making me jittery. And I couldn't believe the difference of reducing that. And it's the same, like a lot of people drink green tea. I can't drink green tea. For some reason, green tea is very stimulating for me. So these small things can actually make a huge impact into just that balancing the scales. So this Christmas, I want you to, if you can, write down needs and wants and what those things that you feel pressurized, okay, that you feel you need to do for other people. And are they needs or are they just wants? Are they just superficial wants? Do they people really need? What do they really need? Most people just need your care, your love, that listening ear, and your time with them, genuinely being there and looking them in the eye. And if you then look at your own needs, what kind of simple strategies can you do to increase your resilience? And we call it cushioning in stress management. and you're cushioning the person from the impact of other areas of your life. So what is it? Maybe things like you're going to make sure you just take a walk. Maybe you're going to make sure that you reduce your alcohol consumption. Maybe you're going to make sure you get extra sleep and you go to your bed, not carry on to these parties till late hours. Simple things can make a huge difference, because what you've got to understand with chronic anxiety and stress, there's a very fine line. And often chronic anxiety and stress can lead to so many other, not just physical complications, but mental. Many people end up very depressed if they've had periods of long, anxiety or stress. So, if you are feeling vulnerable at the moment and you're starting to see it creep up in you, just remember, I was very, very young. I never ever thought that my health would take such a dash, and I was only in my early 20s. And if someone had actually told me that I would spend the next 7 years predominantly house and bed bound, and the next nearly 30 years having a very challenging medical history, I would have made a lot better choices. So nothing's worth it. Your needs have to be so important, and people's wants have to be lowered down the list. You deserve the life that you want. You deserve to be happy and healthy, and not at the expense of other people's wants. Okay, so I hope that's helped. Have a great day.